Hello. Welcome to Voice Gangstalking. I had a few thoughts tonight, but I'm really going over the ties between gangstalking and mental illness, not just how it induces that on a few different levels, but how it also uses that for its cover or its alibi and its blanket. And I'm just going over the different tactics and angles of the gangstalking program and seeing how every one of them really ties into mental illness, whether it causes that to be exhibited in a person and displayed during maybe a confirmation episode, which I like to call them episodes because that's exactly what they are, like a skit that's being put on for you. That's a confirmation episode. A skit. Well, now I'll talk about that tactic as well. That's called street theater. And that's also designed to cause you to have the appearance of mental illness. It's also used for herding, to herd you into certain parts of town or stores. And herding is a form of mobbing, and that's really what I wanted to discuss, was the mobbing and how that ties in to mental illness. Some form or another, you have a mobbing angle, tactic being carried out. It's equaling a display of illness, whether it's a contrived display and you're not ill at that moment, and these things are in fact going on in real time because they are, or that you are at the end of your campaign and it is affected you to the point where you are absolutely schizophrenic, completely checked out, which would be one of the main objectives of the program. Remember, it's a slow kill program. So whether that's that you're institutionalized, suicide, there are really only a few different outcomes for a TI. It's pretty bleak. Being a TI it's not something that you just wear around for a while. So mobbing and herding, either on foot or in vehicles. Mobbing in vehicles, mobbing in vehicles is very effective, and it's very scary. They will corner you in a parking lot, maybe 7 cars, maybe 12, and you've got to dodge them. And each one of these cars is trying to hit you. They're making an attempt on your life. They're not playing around. They're trying to hit you, and you're dodging them. And maybe every parking lot that you run to is doing this. This happened to me. The first time this happened, I was able to convince myself that it was mental illness and that couldn't have possibly happened until the second time it happened. Until I was mobbed the second time by vehicles. And the way that it was carried out and the timing of it and being able to stand back and watch it all being executed effectively was really something else. Because I was able to stand back and not freak out and watch things rather than have them just happening to me. I was watching them for a moment, and boy, it was quite a well-oiled operation, the vehicle mobbing, and which was also, a confirmation episode. That was a little piece of one of 2 confirmation episodes that have been designed for me. That one happened out in California. Actually, they both happened out in California, come to think of it. So there's mobbing in vehicles. Mobbing on foot is more if you're at like your kid's function or a work function and it's social. Maybe people are sitting quite close to you, all around you, uncomfortably close, being like rude and brushing up against you. Perhaps there's a whole row of empty seats directly in front of you, but nobody's choosing those seats. They're choosing to sit right up against you and right behind you. And there's a couple reasons why they do this. This is a really good way to drug a TI and induce a schizophrenic episode while you're in public. It's a good fear and herding. Again, the herding tactic. Now, what do all these have in common? Listen to the things that I'm saying. When you're describing these, if you're describing these to somebody who is not well versed in the gang stalking world and is that fortunate still, they all sound like mental illness. People, excuse me, sitting too close to you and, oh, it's all about me, or hurting me, and oh, look at the stoplights, the stoplights, they're all going out. This is something that happens when I'm being herded with traffic. They do that with traffic, or road construction, or the stoplights. That's all designed to make you think that the program, everyone's in on it. Everyone's in on it. That's not true. That's not true. Just because some perp down at the power company is a gang stalker doesn't mean that all of the utility workers and every single person in your community is in on it. That is a synthetic reality that is something that TIs run with because of a series of magic tricks and timing that are well carried out. So well carried out. It causes people to actually believe that everyone's in on it. But once you start the healing process and the deprogramming process and the desensitization process, you every day, every moment, question all of that. Question all your synthetic realities. And that's the only way out mentally. That is the only way out. That's the only way to deprogram, so to speak. Now, another form of mobbing is them coming in large groups of the hundreds. They love coming in groups. This is another way to make it appear that everyone is in on it. What's really going on is that you're in a community that your big show is going to happen at, that they're going to put on for you. So they've employed a bunch of gang stalkers within that community. The community of gang stalkers that reside in that particular community, and they draw them out from other communities. Watch while your episodes are going on. If it's a town that you've lived in, a small town, you know everybody very well, look around. Everyone seems like they're from out of town that day. That's because they are. They've all been employed to come there. And so they come by the hundreds to make you think that every person in every store is a gang stalker. But it's not true. It's not true. Now, when you're asking for help, if you're in a panic or being drugged or basically dealing with it how you're not supposed to be dealing with it, and you're running from store to store asking for help, first of all, who can blame you? Second of all, not a good idea, because it's a gamble. It's still a gamble. Yeah, everyone isn't in on it, but you've already learned it's such a gamble. You've already asked for help and paid the price for that many times, as you know. It's just a gamble. Not a good idea. You're better off sticking to your own guns at all times, as a TI. Now, again, mental illness. That you express that to somebody, that looks like mental illness. Mobbing by the hundreds. Everyone's in on it. That's why you don't express these things as they're happening in real time. You express them when you have perspective on it, and you can call it by its real name, like mobbing. There are names for these tactics. But when they're happening in real time, if you're with somebody who isn't familiar or sensitized, and you express what's going on, it sounds like absolute bonker craziness. And of course it does. But they don't understand that this is just a little piece of a huge assault against you. And what I've come to learn is that in the beginning, it might look like your campaign looks like you are a wife abuser or a murderer or an abuser of some kind. But that's not it. It's not any of those things, it turns out, every time, right? So what is the message behind the message when you're constantly switching up things in the brain like this? Something's happening in the brain. And part of what's happening is that this program, one of the reasons why it's so incredible is that one of the only differences between this program and mental illness that you can really show hand to somebody and show on a piece of paper, I guess, if you wanted to, would be that it doesn't hop from, mental illness doesn't hop from region to region to region of the brain. This program does. It affects all corners of the brain. And I suggest that you look into that and become aware of what in fact is going on inside your brain. Because, first of all, 75% of the battle in terms of decomputing is just realizing that you're being brainwashed. It's very difficult to brainwash something that knows it's being brainwashed. I would say it's impossible, which is why that doesn't happen until the end of your program. They know it's impossible. That's why your number's up. So I think that's gonna be about it for today. I will try and get a couple more up tomorrow. I've been having quite a lot of difficulty with the site, but I'm doing the best I can, and I'll try and do a little more research and get some new topics up for you guys. Please like, share, please subscribe to my page, and comment. Tell me what you think if you like it. And good luck.